Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Dr. Ali Zini, and I am going to teach you today the Quranic class. And the Quranic class is going to be about the name of Allah. The name of Allah, Al-Jubbar. The name of Allah, Al-Jubbar. And the name of Allah, Al-Jubbar, the word is very interesting name, really very interesting name, because the name that we're going to be studying today, learning about today, is Al-Jubbar, which translated to be the mighty and the mender together. It's the same. In Arabic, the word means this both things, but in English you say these are two opposite things: mighty and mender, a destroyer and the builder. That's what it is, mighty and mender, which means destroyer and builder. Okay. Somebody that will be strong enough and damages, and somebody who's going to repair. So that kind of gives you a weird feeling, because that name is a unique name in this area. Now, how does it work? It's either mighty or mender. Okay. So before we go there, let's see the video.
If you are a Muslim, surely you have heard the word Jabbar. How do you feel when you hear the word Jabbar? What ordinary people feel when they hear this word is a powerful, angry, and unmerciful person. But let's look at lexicons. Jabbar is the active participle for the root Jabra. Jabra literally means to compensate some unfortunate things by force, healing a broken bone or bone setting, the opposite of breaking. So Jabbar means someone who heals the defected or broken bone by force. In fact, in contrast to the common understanding, the word Jabbar describes the exaggerated maternal kindness of a powerful person, which uninterruptedly uses his power for compensating and healing of others as a result of his mercy and kindness. So, Jabbar should be defined as the compassionate and powerful God, the powerful healer, and the great healer and compensator of our ruined being.
By subscribing to our websites and channels, help us to spread peace and health in the world and stop religious abuses.
Okay, so now you can see the different, the meanings, it's like two faces for the same name, two faces. One is compeller, one is destroyer, and the other one is repairer. One is mighty, breaker, and mender. Okay. Let's also see that second video.
Allah, the compeller, the repairer. He is the repairer of the broken-hearted, the rescuer of the captives, and the enricher of the poor. He helps those stumbling on the road, forgives those who sin, and frees his slaves from the torture of Jahannam. He repairs the hearts of those who love and revere him. Glory be to him! His supremacy and greatness are perfect. He grants great blessings to everything and everyone. The compeller, the repairer. To him, everything and everyone are subservient and submissive, and he is never preoccupied with any one affair over other affairs. To him, powerful men submit, and great men are humbled. To him, kings surrender in subjugation, and before him, criminals and oppressors succumb.
So again, it's emphasis on the same thing. Two faces for the same coin. One face destroys and one face repair. Okay, so how does this work? It works because Allah is Jabbar with the oppressive and Jabbar with the victim, the oppressed. So we have the oppressed, the oppressive, we have the oppressive and the oppressed. Both of them need the name of Jabbar. Why? Because with the oppressed, Allah is Jabbar, Allah is mighty, Allah is going to crush this person, Allah is going to destroy that person because he is the oppressor. He is the one who is the bad guy, who's doing the bad stuff, who is doing injustice to others, who is, aggressive with others. This is the oppressor. That's the one that needs Al-Jubbar. But which face of Al-Jubbar? The destroyer. That is face that needs. The victim, on the other hand, needs Al-Jubbar, the repairer. Al-Jubbar, the healer. See, your emotions are broken. Your heart is broken. Your spirit is broken because of whatever reason it is. Then you need Al-Jubbar to fix it, to heal it, to mend it. Stitches here, tapes there, stitches here, band-aids, 2 band-aids there. This is basically what Al-Jubbar who is fixing. In Arabic, when I say Al-Rajul Al-Jabbar, I mean Superman. So Superman is translated as Jabbar man, which is Al-Rajul man Al-Jabbar. So Jabbar man is Superman. Okay, so Superman against the oppressors, mighty, and Superman against the oppressors, and kind and healer and fixer and mender for the oppressed ones. So we call on Allah on both cases. We say, Ya Allah, destroy the oppressor. Ya Allah, mend the oppressed. Ya Allah, mend the broken or the oppressed with a broken heart, broken body, broken spirit, broken emotion. So both work together, both of them works as two faces for the same coin. The coin of Al-Jabbar, it's applied 2 different ways, one against the oppressor and the other one to the favor of the oppressed. Al-Jabbar name is also interesting in that when people are called to rise from death and appear before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are called, O you people, rise, O you people, rise from death to appear before Al-Jabbar. Okay, the angel could have said, rise from death to appear before Allah, or to appear before Ar-Rahman, or to appear before Ar-Rahim, or to appear before Al-Aziz, or appear before, etc., etc., etc. There are so many alternatives. In the primary list of names, we have 99 names. If we take Al-Jabbar out, we have 98 possibilities. This is just from the primary list of 99 names. And we know that Allah has a primary list of 99 names, but actually He has unlimited number of names, infinity, literally infinity. Okay, so and this is the Prophet Muhammad told us also that Allah has names that He didn't teach with anybody, that he didn't teach anybody, he kept only for himself, and names he taught specific kind of his creations. So the angels know names more than what we know, because they have special names that are specific to them. Okay, and we don't know them. They are outside, of course, of the 99, the primary list of 99. But Allah, the angel, with the orders of Allah, it chose to call people using the name Al-Jabbar. Get up, rise to meet the Al-Jabbar for judgment, for reckoning. Okay. Why this name? Because this name, people in the day of judgment are either oppressed or oppressors, or both. I can be oppressed in one area, but I can be oppressor in another area. So I am either oppressed or oppressor or both. Okay. Al-Jabbar is going to deal with both cases. For the oppressed, relief, mending, Jannah. Finally, okay. Finally, after all this suffering and the pain and suffering, Jannah now is right there. So that's for this is for the oppressed, for the victims. Okay. For the oppressor, hellfire is there. Crushing in hellfire, punishment, burning, damaging. You know, this works. So Jabbar against the victims, Jabbar in favor of, Jabbar against the oppressors, and Jabbar in favor of the oppressed. Okay. And by the way, this name is mentioned in the Quran only once, in Surah Al-Hashr. This is wrong. Surah Al-Hashr. It's mentioned in Surah Al-Hashr. Okay. Okay. And the algebra, who's taking algebra classes? Yes, some of you guys are taking algebra classes, I assume, right? I assume that some of you are taking algebra classes. And in these algebra classes, you're learning how to mend the fractions. This is where the name came from. In Arabic word, Jabara means mending fraction, mending. And it is basically, just like you saw in the first video, if you have a broken bone, you go to a person who does Jabr, and they create a cast. And in Arabic, this cast is called Jabira. Jabira is the cast. And the one who's doing the cast, his job is Al-Jabbar, the one who does the casting. So casting or mending, okay? So in the Arabic language, there was a scientist called Al-Khwarizmi. Al-Khwarizmi. This scientist is the inventor, the founding father of Al-Jubbar or Algebra. The reason it's called Al-Jubbar is because it was based, the name was based on Jabr al-Kusur, mending of fractions. 1/2 plus 1/3, 1/4 plus 1/5, you know, mending fractions. Mending fraction is Jabr. Jabr, mending is Jabr, fractions al-Kusur, mending fractions. So this is where the name Al-Jubbar, algebra came from. In Arabic, we call it Jabr. We call it Jabr. But in English, it gets twisted a little bit and it's called algebra. But it's an Arabic word, 100% pure Arabic word that was taken because Muslims were, in the golden age of Islam, Muslims were the leaders of the science and technology. So that's where the name comes from. And his books, Al-Khwarizmi's books, he wrote a lot of books in Jabr, in astronomy, in engineering, in so many other areas. His books were translated and taught in European universities up to even after the golden age of Islam ended. This guy has also invented the zero. He's considered to be the father of computations. And he invented the zero. He invented the calculus. Al-Khwarizmi, he was a really one of a kind. And this Al-Khwarizmi, this is where the name algorithm come from. Algorithm came from Al-Khwarizmi. In Arabic, his name is Al-Khwarizmi. But you know, the English-speaking people like you don't know how to say kha. So instead of saying Al-Khwarizmi, they are saying Algorithm, 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 algorithm. So the word algorithm is coming from algorithm. Okay. So he is also the father of computations because he's the Abu, and this is why the word algorithm came from. It's a pure Arabic word also. Okay. It has no basis in the English language. Okay, so basically let's see how the name Allah Jabbar was used to deal. How did Allah deal with tyrants and oppressors? He deals with them in a very unique way, in a very unique, harsh way, with the tyrants and oppressors. For example, this king that used to call people, I am your God, worship me. His name is Namrud. And Allah sent Prophet Ibrahim to preach to them, to destroy the idols and abandon the worship of the idols and abandon the worship of the tyrant, of the king. Okay, so the king arrogantly decided when they went out, the people of Prophet Ibrahim and the king went out during the day of Eid to have fun outside of the town. Ibrahim didn't go with them. He said, I'm sick. So they said, yeah, okay, suit yourself, stay, we're going. So he went, okay, or Prophet Ibrahim went. I'm sorry, they went. And Prophet Ibrahim, after acting to be sick, when they left, he got up, he took the axe, and he destroyed all the idols, all of them. But he left the biggest idol, okay, seemed like to be the boss of everybody, and he put the axe in his hand. So when they came and they saw the idols destroyed left and right, they said, who did that? They said, we heard that Ibrahim was saying bad things about them. So go get Ibrahim. They brought Ibrahim. Ibrahim, did you do this? Ibrahim said, no. The biggest guy was holding the axe. He said, the biggest guy, and he was pointing to the biggest guy like this. He said, the biggest guy is the one who did it. Look at the trick here. That's a trick because he's a prophet. He doesn't lie. But he wants to give them the message, even though it's a legal, perfectly fine lie, because it's intended to guide people, not to misguide people. It's intended to open the eyes to the truth, not to blind people. So he said, the biggest one did it. And he was pointing to the idol, the biggest one. But at the same time, he meant which biggest one? Biggest finger. So he said, the biggest one. He meant biggest finger. What's the biggest finger? Your thumb, right? So he said, the biggest one did it. Okay? The biggest one did it. And he was pointing to the. So they understood that he's pointing to the idol, even though he, formally speaking, he was referring to his biggest one, which is the biggest thumb among his, the biggest finger, which is the thumb. Okay, so they looked at the biggest one and said, oh, you did it? Then, huh? Duh, these guys don't talk or move. So they said, Prophet Abraham, those guys don't talk or move. Are you kidding with us? He said, if they don't talk and move, then why do you worship them? The king got so angry, so mad, and he said, I'm going to burn your life. I'm going to throw you into fire. And to show the anger, they didn't just create a room full of fire. They created a valley full of fire. they have built a fire. I mean, they have built a valley, a complete valley. They threw firewood over there. They threw firewood. They filled it with firewood and they lighted it up. It was, they used to say the barbecue, the bird when it's flying on the top of the valley, it will barbecue and go down because this is how much heat was there. And but Prophet Ibrahim is just one person. You don't need that much heat. You can just basically choke him or do something. But no, they wanted to make him an example. They wanted to make a big show to scare everybody else who dares to touch the idols. So they built such a huge fire. They threw him into the fire, okay, naked. And then, of course, you know the story that he landed in the fire. Allah ordered the fire to be peaceful and cool and comfort him. The fire did, and he walked out of the fire. He walked out of the fire. So everybody was just impressed. Now the king wanted to talk to him, and the king talked to him. So watch here. Allah was Jabbar with Ibrahim. Why? Because he saved him from the fire, and he ordered the fire to be cool and nice to Ibrahim. Okay? So here is Al-Jabbar applied to Ibrahim, the victim, the oppressed. Now, on the other hand, Al-Jabbar was applied to the tyrant king. The tyrant king was debating with Prophet Ibrahim. Prophet Ibrahim said, "You're not God." He said, "Who is your God then?" He said, "My God is the one who gives life and death." He said, the king said, "I can give life and death." He said, "How?" He said, "Okay." He brought a guy who has a death sentence from prison, and he said, "This guy has a death sentence. I spare him." He spared him. He said, "I give him life." And then he brought a guy who's having a good life, and he took him and he executed him. And he said, "I killed him. I gave him death." Of course, Prophet Ibrahim didn't mean that. But since the king was, obviously, apparently the king was stupid in doing this. But Prophet Ibrahim didn't want to argue with him. So Prophet Ibrahim moved to a different point. He said, "My God brings the sun from the east. Can you bring it from the west?" Then, that's a law of nature. Nobody can touch or control. So he was astonished. Yet he insisted on calling people to worship him. And he insisted to make himself equivalent to God. So this is, Allah was Jabbar with him. Look how did Allah destroy him. Allah made a mosquito, small little mosquito, go through his ears and reside in his brain. And this mosquito bites him from inside and buzzes in his brain. And he would yell and scream, and the mosquito would not stop biting him or bothering him until they hit him on the head. When they hit him on the head, okay, the bug or the mosquito calms down. So the pain is gone. So once they stop beating him on the head, the pain comes back. The mosquito becomes active, the pain comes back. So they ask him to hit him. Okay. And sometimes they would use shoes and hit him with shoes on his head to calm down the pain. And this is how Allah destroyed him. The most miserable ending. A mosquito, a little mosquito that I've created. This is how I dealt with you. That's how the Jabbar dealt with the oppressors, with the tyrant. Jabbar crushed the tyrants. Jabbar. Another story about how Allah, how the name of Allah Jabbar was used to destroy and crush tyrants is the story of the Fir'aun. Fir'aun used to say, "I'm your highest God, worship me." So Allah wanted to destroy him in a unique way also, just like the other guy with the mosquito, but even worse with a unique way. So Allah wanted to show him how weak and helpless is him when he claims he's the highest God, that he's not even a God. He's not even near being being anything related to God. So Allah wanted to destroy him in such a unique way, to mock him, to humiliate him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him in the dream, how is he going to be destroyed? So he saw in the dream, the Pharaoh saw in the dream, that one of the kids from the children of Israel will rise, okay, will rise from his house, his palace, his backyard, and is going to destroy his kingdom, kill him and destroy his kingdom, which is the Pharaoh who used to rule Egypt and Sudan and Syria and Palestine and this area. I think it included Syria and Palestine, but I'm not sure. But anyway, Allah showed him in a dream. And then the message was that now I'm showing you how are you going to be destroyed. This is the way you will be destroyed. Okay? This boy is the one who's going to destroy you. And this boy is going to grow up in your house. And this boy is the one who's going to be able to end you and end your kingdom. Now, what else? Allah is telling him how is he going to destroy him. And Allah is challenging him. If you truly a man, if you truly a God, stop it. Stop it. If you even a man, stop it. If somebody tells me that if I would kill you by hitting you with my car, running you over with my car, then I would be able to stop that by staying away from the street, go inside so that no car can reach me, so I can stop this. But the Pharaoh knew, Allah told him how is he going to be destroyed, and at the same time was a challenge for him. Now you know how it's going to be done. Now I challenge you, stop it. This is the way it's going to happen. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the way it's going to happen. And it will happen. And if you're truly a God, then stop it. If you're truly even a man, stop it. Stop it from happening if you can. Okay, so that was a Jabbar challenge. Jabbar challenge. And it happened. How? Pharaoh said, okay, in order to stop this plan, I have to kill all baby boys grown from the children of Israel, because the dream showed a Hebrew boy from the children of Israel. So he said, okay, which is a Jewish boy, basically. So he said, okay, to stop the plan of God that he saw in the dream, I will kill every single baby boy that's born from the children of Israel, the Hebrews. So he used to kill all baby boys. As soon as a woman the soldiers are there, if it's a baby girl, they leave her alone. If it's a baby boy, it's killed right away, there, at the second. And Pharaoh thought, I ruined the plan of God to destroy him. Look, there will be no baby boys existing as long as I'm alive. But after a while, after years of doing that, the main source of slavery, okay, or slave work, was the children of Israel, the Jews, the Hebrews. They were the slaves. They are the ones who built the pyramids, and they are the labor, the ones who did the labor building of all these monuments and nice temples, and they were the Hebrews, the children of Israel. So the Egyptians came complaining to the Pharaoh. They said, we ran out of slaves. We ran out of male work. We ran out of labor. What can we do? I mean, who's going to build? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Who's going to farm? Who's going? We don't have any more slaves coming, male slaves. Okay. Female slaves can't build pyramids and temples. They can sure do some work, but they don't have enough muscles, because they had no equipment at that time on machines. Things were done by hands. Okay, so they said, we need slaves. We have no more slaves left. You should do something about that. So then the Pharaoh, under pressure, he said, okay, fine. I'm going to spare the baby boys 1 year and kill the baby boys the next year. So I would alternate. Okay, so from 100%, he went into 50%. From 100% to 50%. So from 0 chances of having a boy coming out of the children of Israel race to 50% is coming in the boy. He was forced to make the decision. Okay. You might think and say, okay, then Allah will take advantage of this year where he spares baby boys to make Musa be born in this year. No, that's not Allah. Allah, because he's a Jabbar, he chose for Musa to be born in the year where the Pharaoh slaughters baby boys. Okay, Harun, Aaron, his brother, was born in a year where the Pharaoh spares baby boys, but Musa was born in the year which is not. See the challenge from Allah, which is not. And not only that, but Allah made Musa's mother, her tummy was not big, you know. She wouldn't be so big like all other pregnant ladies. Musa was a little baby, so little in her tummy that her tummy didn't grow up big in a way that will catch the attention. So when she was due to labor, she was able to go out of town in a far remote place and deliver the baby easily because it's a small baby. Okay, now where to go? The baby is right there. If I take him back, they will kill him. If I leave him here, he will die. Who's going to feed him? Who's going to do? There were no formulas and models at that time. The baby has to be fed by nursing. Okay, has to be breastfed, whether his mother or a different woman, but he has to be breastfed or die. There's no formula of food for babies at that time other than breastfeeding. So she gave him a big, long meal. Allah told her to give him. She was scared. She didn't know what to do. So Allah told her, Allah revealed it to her that, okay, you feel scared about your boy. She said, yes, Ya Allah. He said, put him in a box and throw him in the river Nile, in the Nile River. Just imagine, you scared. See, Al-Jubbar is asking her to put her kid in a box and throw him in the river. Okay? Okay. And then Allah said, I'll take care of him. But before you do that, give him a long, long, big meal. Let him suck milk from you as much as he can until he's really full. Fill him up and then put him in the box and let the box go. See, Al-Jubbar, he wanted Musa, he didn't want Musa to grow like Harun in his house. Okay, Harun was born in the year where baby boys were spared, and he grew up normally in his house, surrounded by everybody else. Now Musa, this can't happen to Musa, and Allah didn't want it to happen to Musa. And Allah, because Allah wanted Musa to grow up in the house of the Pharaoh exactly like he showed him in the dream. The dream was that he saw the Hebrew boy coming out of his house. Okay, his house. He showed him the dream. Okay, so he's going to grow up in your house, under your eyes, and you're not going to be able to stop the plan. Al-Jubbar, every time I think about that, I really feel so much fear from the name Al-Jubbar, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so much in power and control that the Pharaoh couldn't do anything to stop the plan that he knew already. So now the Pharaoh, Musa arrived, you know the story, Musa arrived in the river. As soon as the mother of the Pharaoh, the wife of the Pharaoh saw him, she worshipped him. She just loved him. She adored him. She took him and she said to the king, he's going to be our child, our son. So the Pharaoh didn't care. He said, yeah, okay, our son, fine. Okay. And then Musa was crying. They called all the men who can breastfeed in the entire city. They all came. They all tried to breastfeed Musa one by one, and Musa would refuse to pick up the breast of anybody. Doesn't want to accept the milk from anybody, the breast of anybody. And he kept crying and crying. So it was the wife of the Pharaoh, she declared emergency. My son needs to be fed. Now, Musa's sister, she was watching him when he was in the box in the river. She was walking on the river bank, the line, the river bank of the road next to the river. She was walking and watching what's happening to him. So when she saw that the servants of the Pharaoh's wife picking him up, she figured out what's going to happen. Then she heard the emergency announcement that they need a woman to breastfeed him. And she heard that Musa is not accepting any breast at all. Then she went back to them. And she said, I know a woman that for sure, he's going to drink milk from her. She said, get her. We'll pay her anything she wants. Whatever she asks for, we will do. So she went and brought her mom, the mother of Musa, and her mother. So she went and brought her mother, and as soon as Musa saw his mother and she offered him her breast, she started pumping and sucking like a pump milk that he has been hungry for so many days before, for so long, not many days, but for a long time. He's really hungry. That's why Allah told her to give him a big, long meal, long breastfeeding, long time until it fills up, because Allah had this in plan to bring her to raise him. So now he's growing up. The Pharaoh said, kill him. What happened is that he's growing up under the protection of the Pharaoh, under the roof of the Pharaoh, enjoying the luxury of the Pharaoh, eating the food of the Pharaoh, enjoying everything that the palace of the Pharaoh has to offer to the Pharaoh and to his wife, enjoying it. And on the top of him, his mother is the one who's taking care of him. See Al-Jubbar, Al-Jubbar, a Jabbar to Musa. Okay, the oppressed Musa and his mother, he was Jabbar to them. And he was mender to them, he was fixing them, he was solving the problems, he was relieving them, and at the same time he was Jabbar with the Pharaoh by crushing the Pharaoh in such a unique way. Okay, so now see Al-Jabbar. Now what happened later on, days went by and years, and Musa grew up to be about 5 years old. Now, anytime the thought of killing Musa comes to the mind of the Pharaoh, these advisors will kind of ridicule him. It's like, you, the mighty Pharaoh, are worried about this little insect, this little creature, baby. You, the mighty Pharaoh, are afraid of this little thingy? No way. So his pride and arrogance prevented him from killing Musa at the beginning when Musa was a baby. He said, no, I'm not afraid of him. Okay. Even though he saw the dream, but out of arrogance, he said no. When Musa was about 4 or 5 years old, he had inspiration from Allah that this guy is his enemy. Musa would see the guy, the Pharaoh, and he would recognize that the Pharaoh is his enemy, even though he was a little 4 years old. So once he approached him, Musa approached the Pharaoh, held his beard, and gave him a slap on the face, like this. The Pharaoh, that slap reminded the Pharaoh of everything, reminded him of the dream, and he said, you are the one then. You are the one in the dream. You are. And he was about to kill him. But the wife, his wife, she came running, and she said, no, my baby, my son, no, our son, don't. So he said, no, I will kill him. She said, don't, no, you can't, you don't. Okay, so the advisors, so he asked the advisors, what do you think? They said, okay, fine, let's do a test. He's either a little baby who doesn't know what he's doing, like his mother saying, he's just a little guy, doesn't know what he's doing, holding you and slapping you, he doesn't know what he's doing, he's just messing around. Or he is a guy who knows what he's doing, and he intentionally pulled my beard and hit me, slapped me on my face, intentionally, because he hates me, okay, because he knows what he's doing. Okay, of course, Musa knew what was he doing, and he intentionally hit the Pharaoh because he knew that the Pharaoh is his enemy. But his mother is the wife of the Pharaoh, his adopted mother. Okay, she was arguing and said, he's a baby, he doesn't know what he's doing. So the advisor said, okay, we test him. We bring a plate that has charcoal and a date. A charcoal left on fire and the date. And we offer him the plate. If he picks up the date, then he knows what he's doing, we kill him. If he picks up the charcoal, then we know he doesn't know what he's doing, and we just forget about it. Now, when they offered the plate to Prophet Musa, he knows what he's doing, and he's smart and everything. So he went to pick up the dates, but Allah sent Angel Jibreel to move his hand from the date to the charcoal. He picked up the charcoal, he tried to eat it, it burned his tongue. Tongue burned. For his entire life, Prophet Musa wouldn't be able to speak. He wouldn't be able to speak. He would speak like that. With his speak like that, and because his tongue is burned. Like that, he couldn't speak. And that's why when Allah appointed him to the task of going and talking to the Pharaoh, he said, I need my brother Harun with me because he can talk. He has the tongue to talk, but I don't have the tongue. I don't talk clearly. Harun talks clearly. I don't. So one of the reasons that he mentioned to Allah was that Harun talks well. He doesn't know. He doesn't talk well because of his tongue, because of this incident. But that incident woke up the Pharaoh, and still the challenge was there. Mr. Pharaoh, he even hit you on your face, okay? And you could not even stop him, not from hitting you, nor from killing you at the end, causing you to die at the end, not killing you, causing you to die at the end. So you can see how things went. And you might say, okay, in order for the mother of Musa not to appear to be pregnant, Musa has to be a baby, a little baby. So you think, and she would have an easy delivery as well, because she was alone, away from the soldiers, away from home. So you might think that, well, the baby is small, then Musa is going to be small. No, Musa grew up to be a mighty man, big, very big, very strong, to the level that in a fight, he hit one of the Egyptian guys, like a big guy. He hit him like that. And that hit like this, killed the guy. The guy died because of Prophet Musa hitting him like that. Just imagine. He's hitting him like this here. The guy died. Just one hit. This is how strong he was. And later, when he was offering water, and the story where he's bringing out water from the well to the girls, the daughters of Shu'aib, he ended up marrying one of them. They were waiting until the shepherds go away, okay, so that they can water the girls, the daughters of Shu'aib, so that they can water their sheep. But the shepherds are mean. They would cover the well with a stone before they leave. They had a stone to cover the well so that the well is not buried under sand and dirt. So every time they want to water their sheep and their cattle, they will wait together, and 10 of them will help each other carry the rock to uncover the well and put the rock to the side. 10 of them. So if anyone arrives, they keep waiting until they are 10 people, 10 very strong people. When they covered it for the last time, when it's the end of the day and they covered the well and they left, okay, and they just leave a little bit of leftover for the two daughters of Shu'aib that are, the reason these two daughters were there because they had no brother and their father was a very old man. So they had no choice except by watering the sheep by themselves. So when Prophet Musa saw them and he said, what are you doing here? How can you two girls here be here in this place with those shepherds? They said, what can we do? No brother, no, and our father is very old. We have no choice. So he said, wait, I'll bring you water. He by himself carried the rock, put it aside. 10 shepherds would do that. He did it all by himself. That's how strong he became at the end, from this little tiny baby. Okay, and the story keeps going on and on. And at the very end, the Pharaoh was destroyed in the way he saw in the dream, in such a unique, miserable way. When, at the very end, when the Prophet Musa was crossing, when Allah parted the sea for Prophet Musa, parted 12 roads for each tribe from the children of Israel, because the children of Israel were 12 tribes. Each tribe, one tribe for each son. So Prophet Yusuf has a tribe. Prophet Yusuf had 11 brothers. So they were total of 12 brothers. So they had 12 tribes. Each tribe had a road. So Allah parted the, I think, I might be wrong, but it's either Allah parted a big road, dry road out of them for all of them, or 12 different roads for one for each tribe. I'm not sure. But anyway, the bottom line is that the Pharaoh, at that point, when Pharaoh was chasing them, when he saw that with his own eyes, he realized that we're doing serious, I can't fight Musa's God. I can't. I mean, man can't find God. And he wanted to go back. However, Allah, the angels came and made the horse, kicked the horse, so the horse would run towards the dry roads and the sea. And he wouldn't be able to stop the horse. The horse is going and going. And the horse went down into these dry roads, and in the middle of the sea, when all the children of Israel arrived safely to the other side, and he was still in the dry road, he and his soldiers, because he went, his soldiers followed. If he would stop, his soldiers would stop. But because he went, and he didn't want to go, but the horse was beaten up by the angels to move. And then while they are in the middle, Allah collapsed the sea, let the water collapse back in place, go back in place, and he drowned. And Allah, when he drowned him, Allah said, I drown you, you die, but your body is going to remain. Your body is going to remain forever. Your body is going to be an everlasting body, to be a reminder to every tyrant to look at how this miserable end happened to this big, humongous Pharaoh who used to say, I'm your highest Lord and I'm your God and worship me. Look what happened to him. Look at his body. Miserable death, miserable body. And the Egyptians were able to find his body, and they were able to mummy him. And I have the pictures of his mummies and of his mummy. Still until today, it exists until today. Until today, it is existing. Yes, here's
يد علماء الآثار وأطباء التشريح في العالم أن تم فك الرباط التي كانت للمومياء ملفوفة به ارتفعت يد المومياء إلى الأعلى، مما سبب الجثة تحت يد علماء الآثار وأطباء التشريح في العالم. وكان على رأس الجراحين البروفيسور موريس خلف كآية. قذف مياه البحر لسيدنا موسى ونزل إليه أن يضرب ابنه خلف سيدنا موسى وأتباعه ليقتله بسبب آية في القرآن. فتابعوا القصة معنا للنهاية. بعد أن جمع فرعون جيوشه وانطلق خلف سيدنا موسى وأتباعه ليقتلهم، أمر الله سبحانه وتعالى موسى أن يضرب البحر بعصا، فانشق البحر لسيدنا موسى ونزل إليه مع المؤمنين لينرج موسى وأتباعه الله عليه طرف بنو إسرائيل يبقى على جسده ليكفئ معالم تدعى مقبرة الدير البحري وتحنيطها ودفنها في المقبرة المعدة له. ثم تم نقله إلى مقبرة تدعى مقبرة الدير البحري لتوضع مع مومية باقي الفراعنة، وتم إخفاء معالم المقبرة لكي لا يجدها اللصوص. ولكن بالصدفة وفي أوائل السبعينات قطعة اعتراف بما وجد طلبت فرنسا من مصر.
That's him. And every time, you know, my heart trembles when I see this guy. He earned himself everlasting life in hell. Millenniums and millenniums and millenniums of pain and suffering and burning and torture, cycles after cycles. Fresh, Allah will grow fresh. Allah is going to grow new flesh for him. And this flesh is going to burn. And then Allah will grow another flesh. And then the other flesh is going to burn. Cycles of flesh burning. Cycles and cycles for millenniums, everlasting, non-ending. It's just getting worse. It's increasing. Millenniums after millenniums, forever, ever. No ending. It's crazy. I mean, look what he did to himself. Look, he earned himself such a miserable ending. In the lowest place of hell, Allah said in the Surah Al-Ghafir that he goes to the lowest bottom place in hell because of what he did. What did he gain out of this? What did he gain out of this? Nothing. At the end, look at him. That's who he is. Just like Allah said, I'm going to save your body to make you a reminder for everybody else, every other tyrant that comes and thinks highly of himself, makes himself a god. Look, that's the end of it. That's the end. This is who you are going to be. This is what are you going to end up being. Yeah, that's his face.
تركها هكذا. وبعد الفحص وجدوا عدة كسور بيد هذه الجثة دون أن يصيب من الفراعنة سنة. فأصابت الصدمة موريس